This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. Okay, so one of the most beautiful sounds that I think can be evoked on the guitar involves the use of a thing called spread triads. I want to give you a little kind of 10-15 minute lesson on spread triads, hopefully get you in the door, get your foot in the door so you can explore these yourselves and get them into your playing. If you've not heard of what a spread triad is, Eric Johnson is probably one of the main kind of famous users of this, but the idea is essentially you take something like a triad, which is, if you look at it on the piano, sort of the C, E, G, 3 notes, and you move the voices apart, essentially spreading the voices of the triad. I guess as well, what is a triad? It's a 3-note chord, and for most popular music, we can kind of worry about basically 2 triads for most of it. So if you harmonize the major scale, you get G major triad, then you get an A minor triad, then you get a B minor triad, and you get a C major triad, and you get a D major triad, and you get an E minor triad, and then you get a diminished triad, minor 7 flat 5, you know, this chord that we don't actually hear a whole ton. So I'd say you can worry essentially about these major and minor, major, minor sounds. So when it comes to spread triads, then what I want to show you is that you've essentially got 2 things to remember and then 3 options for where you can play them is essentially, I think, how I'll break it down. So say you wanted a G major triad, you could play it like this, or you could spread these voices around and end up with something like this. And I don't know about you, but for me, one sounds a lot more inviting. So the idea, we take our root, take our 5th, and take our 3rd. So we're going root, 3rd, 5th. Then you might want to also think, okay, well, that root, 3rd, 5th for our major, we could play it here. So we're using our root now on our A string, or we could play our root on our D string. So spend some time just exploring that as an option. Don't forget also that each kind of major scale or chord family of the major scale has 3 major chords. You've got the chord 1, you've got the chord 5, and you've got the chord 4, chord 1, 4, 5. So in G, we'd have a G, we'd also have a C, and we'd have a D. And again, G, C, D, and again, G, C, D. So explore that as well. Now, the other thing is we can use either a major triad or a minor triad. So what I would suggest for this, if we stick with this idea of G major, with each major chord family, you have 3 major chords. You also have 3 minor chords. So in G, those would be the chord 2, A minor, chord 3, B minor, and chord 6, E minor. Right, so those are most of our options covered, yeah? So we've got G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, E minor, and then back to G. Given that we don't hear this too much, I wouldn't necessarily worry about it too much at this point. So let's take our E minor triad. So up here, root, 5th, and that would be our major. So for a minor chord, we want to have a flattened 3rd, right? So that will be how we can play the minor triad with our root on the 6th string on the E. What about if we play it on the A? Okay, and then we're going to have one more somewhere, aren't we? So what about it down here? So again, explore that for a while. And then think about, okay, well, I've got my other options here. So in G major, we can have our E minor, we can have our A minor, we can have our B minor. And find a fingering that works for you. Okay, E minor, A minor, B minor, E minor, A minor, B minor. Okay, so from what I've just told you, you could actually put together something with spread triads in G major all over the neck, right? Because you could go from G to C, to E minor, to A minor, to C, to G, to D, E minor, C, D, B minor, C, G, D. So, if you experiment with that, I promise you, you'll be able to, I think, make some real use of that. So that's just using major triads and minor triads in G major and focusing on getting them in the 3 places where they can exist. So that's our G there, that's our G there, that's our G there. Also then focus on the minor. So you could think about it, you could do it as well here. So G minor, G minor, G minor. But the reason that I showed you the E minor is so that you could put something together with minor and major straight away. So the next thing you could think about is inversions. So we're going to stay with this G major triad. And what if, you know, like on a piano, you can play inversions of a thing. So what it is doing is moving your bottom note up. So you're essentially moving that chord cluster up the neck. So we're going to, instead of having root, 5th, 3rd, we can have 3rd, root, 5th. And that's a first inversion of our G major spread triad, right? And up here, one of my favorites. And then here, okay, so spend some time with that. Again, if we were in C, then our C down here, root, 3rd, root, 5th, and then our C here, 3rd, root is what I want there, not like that, yeah? We are playing D, our chord 5 in G major. We could do the same. Okay, so that's our first inversion of the major. What about first inversion of the minor? So we got our E minor. So again, root, fifth, third. There's our third, there's our root, there's our fifths. That's on our A string, on our E string. Okay, like that. Nice, okay. And then on our D string. Now we're doing a third, root, fifth. Then if we're going to do our A minor in first, same principle. Nice, then our B minor. Whee. Okay. Okay, got that one. Then the B minor, so here. Okay, then if we can do an inversion again, we get the second inversion. So our G, first inversion, so that was the third, root, fifth. And then we start on a fifth, third, root. So, there we go. So again, fifth, third, root is what we're looking for. Fifth, third, root. Cool. Right, if we're on our C, fifth, third, root. C, fifth, third, root. So fifth, third, root. On our D, we'd get the same thing going on. Fifth, third, root, D, third, root, fifth, fifth, third, root. We're on D again, so now root, fifth, third, third, root, fifth, fifth, third, root. And do the same now for your minor triads. So you've got your E minor, first inversion, second inversion, fifth, third, root in the top. Then here, fifth, third, root, and again. We got our root, fifth, third. Then we got our third, root, fifth, and then we're going to want our fifth, third, root. Okay, then that'll be our E minor, or A minor, sorry. Then our A minor again. Our A minor. Then another A minor. And then we got our fifth, third, root. Our B minor. Our B minor again. And one more time our B minor. And if you join all of those things together, then what you've got is all of the inversions of the major and minor spread triads in the major key. So you could mix those up. So I think that's basically the things that you might want to know about spread triads before getting stuck into them. Hopefully you can see that there's kind of a logic to this stuff. So as I say, you've got your 3 major and your 3 minors that kind of are part of the major scale chord family. So 1, 4 and 5 will be your majors, 2, 3 and 6 will be your minors. And you can mix these up and make progressions yourself out of these. First of all, focus on your kind of root position spread triads on the E string, the A string and the D string. And then start to think about, once you've got comfortable with them, mixing in some of these inversions. Over time, I think you can get comfortable with these. It's a concept that I've got more comfortable with over the time. Hopefully that should clear things up a bit if you were wondering what spread triads were about. I'll put together a worksheet for this for you guys on Patreon, and also the backing track. Got to film an intro yet, but I'll catch you in another video soon. Cheers for now.